Good morning. If you're watching this in the morning, you might not be. You might be watching or listening to it a bit later on. Oh, my camera's in a weird place. Oh, that's from boot camp yesterday. That's from doing the online workout because I had to move everything downstairs. Let me move my microphone a bit closer to me. I'm not talking very loudly because it is 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and whilst during the week I don't mind talking loudly because I know my son and my husband are getting up in a minute. I don't think either of them are going to appreciate me waking them up at this time on a Saturday morning. I'm the mental one that gets up early every day. Welcome to day 5 of your reset, my lovelies. Just fiddling with my hair if you're watching me on camera because it was all uncomfortable. I'm going straight off to the gym after this, very much looking forward to that. Today we are talking about how this process is not all about the scales, and this is going to be really important, I would say, for about 95% of you. I hope that you are starting to feel the benefit of starting to work on some of these healthy habits that I've had you looking at this week, and they've been really simple, and we've talked about you not needing to get them perfect so you don't need, when it comes to steps, you don't need to hit 10,000 steps every day. If you're only getting 2,000 a day as your average at the minute, going from 2,000 to 10,000 every day is going to be a real stretch for you. So how can you get to maybe 4,000? How can you double it over the course of a week, right? And that's doing your best. I heard something, was it yesterday or the day before, from one of my peers, Stu. He said, and he'd stolen this from someone else, if you've only got 40% to give today, and you give 40%, you've actually given 100%. And I love that, because some days we don't have it all. I think I spoke to some of you about, and I definitely spoke to my clients about how Thursday was my first day back to exercise properly after 2 weeks after getting so ill. I didn't have 100% to give because I'm still recovering. I'd say I had about 60-70%. And I gave that 60-70%, and therefore I gave 100%. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. If you didn't manage to have protein with every single meal, because actually, one morning breakfast was, excuse me, crazy because the kids were being a nightmare. Fine, you got protein in lunch and dinner, and that was the best you could do that day. So you've done as much as you can. But I really hope you're feeling the benefit of these habits. And actually that's going to be today's task, which I'll remind you of at the end of the session as well, is to talk about what your wins are for this week. How you feel, how undertaking this little reset has made you feel. Now, lots of you have joined the at-home community, and I'm absolutely thrilled. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a little while. And I'm so excited about it. If you decide you don't want to carry on working with me, that's absolutely fine. I'm always here to help, and most of you now have my WhatsApp number and you have me on social media in some way, shape or form. Brilliant. I'd love for you to reach out in the future if you want any more help. But what I really want today to be is one of those light bulb moments for you. I want you to really be able to shift some of your belief system around the scale, because I know that is a massive hang up for so many women, okay? The belief often is that being at a lower weight equals being healthier, and that's not the case. Excuse me. So yesterday in our WhatsApp group, and for those of you that are listening in the future and weren't part of the reset, we had a WhatsApp group that went with our reset, and I shared some pictures of me across the years. And I shared a picture of me on my wedding day and me in the summer of, I'm pretty sure it was the summer of either 2020 or 2021. I need to look back at the date on the picture. And you can see quite a difference. Now, obviously, on my wedding day, I'm full of a wedding dress. And in the other picture, I'm standing there in my underwear, which was a delight for everyone that I shared it with. But you can see a difference in my arms. You can see that, 10 years after, or 7 years after my wedding day, I am a lot leaner. Yet on those two pictures, I weigh exactly the same, and that's why I took the second picture. As I woke up, I weighed myself, and it was the first time I'd weighed exactly the same as my wedding day for a really long time. And I was, about 3 dress sizes smaller, I think. Now, yes, I was healthier because I was moving more, I was eating better, but compared to now, when I weigh about 5 pounds more than I did in that summer of 2020, 2021, we can't remember what year it is, I am not as strong, I am not as fit. Yes, I'm leaner, I'm smaller, I weigh less on the scales, but I'm not as strong, I'm not as fit. I don't have the energy that I did then because I'd lost quite a lot of body fat, right? So yeah, I looked, it was awesome. I was fitting into size 8 clothes all over my body, but I definitely wasn't strong. I definitely didn't have the energy that I have now. Okay, so lighter on the scale does not always equal health. Think about everything I said yesterday in movement, in the fact that we want to build muscle that will help us to be strong and independent and fit into our 80s, 90s, and if, like me, you want to live till you're 100, you're hundreds, okay? You can lose weight in a really unhealthy way. Now, when I lost weight and got to that stage around the time of the pandemic, that's an easier way of saying it, I did it in a healthy way. I just want to be really clear with you. I did do it in a healthy way. That was the time when I was starting the Mum Boss method. But because I hadn't been weightlifting in a way that was going to really create muscle, I was still weightlifting before that to try and lose weight. I wasn't as strong. Okay, so I lost weight in a healthy way. But since then, I have continued my health journey and I've built muscle. But it's really, really easy to lose weight in an unhealthy way. And years ago, when I started this journey in the Mum Boss method and I started coaching people, I will hands up, I'll hold my hands up and say that I was just focusing on getting people that weight loss result. Okay, because that's, that I've learned since then what being a coach is all about. When I started on my weight loss journey, all I focused on was calories and scale weights, right? So I did similar with other people because just like any job, you learn as you go through it, right? You learn more. And as I've grown as I've learned as a coach, I've learned that it's not just about calories and scale weight, okay? And now as a coach, I focus on all the other things that are important. So your relationship with food. Some of you have described that you have a terrible relationship with food and with exercise. Your relationships generally, I've done a podcast about this and I'm happy to talk about it. I talk about it with my son. In the first 8 or 9 years of my life, I was not the best mum. Not my life, his life. I was not the best mum I could have been. I was so focused on surviving each day. I was so focused on my corporate job. My relationship with him and my relationship with my husband were not great because I wasn't looking after myself and I didn't like myself. Your mental health, I'm going to cough again, I'm really sorry. It's because it's the first conversation of the day. Your physical health, creating and sustaining healthy habits, getting you strong. These are the things that are important. These are the things that I focus on when I work with my clients now. Yes, if losing body fat is your goal, I want to help you do that, but not at the sacrifice of the other things in your life that are important for keeping you healthy and happy. And so, what we need to do is we need to remove the obsession over the scales. We need to remove that obsession with the scales, okay? Because whilst you're still obsessing over the scales, this will make the process of losing weight, getting healthier, fitter and stronger, slower and more painful. Slurp of my coffee. If that's all you're focusing on, it will make it harder, slower, more painful. Let me ask you some questions. I want you, there's no one watching because it's far too early on a Saturday morning. So if you're watching back and you're listening on the podcast, I want you all to think about these questions, okay? You want to lose weight to feel better, okay? That's really simple. You want to lose weight to feel better. Now, in your mind, that could be, I want to lose weight to feel better in my clothes, when I look in the mirror, when I go out for drinks and dinner with my friends. It could be about feeling like you've got more energy, sleeping better, having, being in a better mood. Feel better is really wide and open, okay? What if you lost weight but you didn't feel physically better? So let's say you had 1.5 stone to lose. I'm pulling numbers out of thin air. You had 1.5 stone to lose, you lost the 1.5 stone, but you actually didn't feel physically better. You might fit into your clothes better, but what if you felt like you had absolutely no energy? Like you were tired all the time. Like deciding what to have for dinner was an absolute chore. You felt like you couldn't go out with your friends. You're in a bad mood. Would you be happy if you lost 1.5 stone, 2 stone, you reached your goal weight, but you didn't feel physically better? Would you be happy? If any of you say yes, I'm sorry, but I think you're lying. Because I don't believe that anyone, was it Marilyn Monroe that said, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels? I'm going to Google this on my other screen. Nothing tastes as good as being thin feels. Who said that? Kate Moss. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, right? I'm sure she probably said that in the 90s because that's when skinny was fashionable. Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. That woman is genetically a very lean, small, skinny person. If she overate on calories, she would still gain weight, right? There's nothing magic about calories, we know this. But that's absolute rubbish. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Rubbish. If you lost loads of weight but you felt lethargic, moody, horrible, you wouldn't be happy. What about if you lost loads of scale weight but you still didn't fit into your clothes well? Would you be happy? I'm going to cough again. Would you be happy if your clothes still didn't fit? So you stood on the scales and you'd lost 0.5 stone and your clothes still didn't feel any better. Would you be happy? No, you wouldn't. Okay? What if you lost weight, lost 1 stone, and you started to feel better, but that pair of jeans still was a bit tight? If you started to feel better, you would start to be happier. Okay? So my statement or question for you is this: what about your health? Health is not just scale weight. It's energy levels, it's gut health, it's your skin, it's your hair, it's your nails, it's how you feel when the alarm goes off in the morning, it's your mood throughout the day, it's how much you laugh, it's how you feel mentally, it's how you feel walking into a room. Health means so many different things, okay? And so that is what I want you to be thinking about, rather than thinking about the scale weight. Okay, think about your health. Think about all of the habits that we've been talking about this week, all of the things that you've been doing, and some of you have gone over and beyond, over and above those 5 things that I asked you to do every day, and that's great, because everyone's on different journeys. And I also know that, you know, some of you have struggled with seeing other people ticking off all the boxes where you feel like you can only tick off 1 or 2. And I want to say this, and I posted this on my Facebook yesterday, you know, comparison is the thief, I find that word really difficult to say, of joy. It also keeps you stuck. So if you've been spending this week comparing yourself to other people on this reset, and it's put you in a hole and it's made you feel bad about yourself, everyone is on their own journey. Everyone has a different starting point here. There are, I would say, half of the people on this reset have worked with me in some way, shape or form, or been around me in my network for a really, really long time and listen to what I say often. And I don't say that big-headedly, I say it because it's true. And the other half of you are quite new. Some of you are already on a health journey, have been doing this for quite a while, and so this was just a top up for you. But comparing yourself to other people is not going to get you anywhere, and it's something that will put you in that all or nothing mindset, so don't do that. Okay, let's talk. So I've talked a bit about the belief, I've talked about you focus on the scales a lot. What about focusing on your health and how you feel? Let's talk about your expectations versus reality, okay? Now, you might expect to look, so here we are going to talk about scale weight. And there's so much I could say on this, and I could give you the absolute science behind it all and why it's actually fat loss and not weight loss, but I'm not going to go there. I've got podcasts about that if you want to search through my podcasts. I just want to talk about the expectations and really give you some bombs that are going to help you change your thinking. So, you might go into a weight loss phase, for example. It might be program, it might be coming to work with me, it might be going back to Slimming World, it might be just doing it on your own at home, and that's fine. You might expect to lose 2, 3, 4 pounds a week. Right, that might be your expectation, and that expectation might be based on something you did 4 years ago when you did, you know, something really drastic. It might be based on what, you know, your friend did. It might be based on, you know, what you think is normal. The reality is that £1 a week is great. The even bigger reality is that 1 week it might be £2. For many of you, you know, the last time I ran this reset, someone that's on this reset as well now, I think she lost about £4 or £5 in 5 days. And I don't focus on weight loss in my resets, but just just focusing on those habits. She was also counting calories. I think she lost £3 or £4 in one week, up to £5. I'm probably getting this wrong. I'd have to look. But the real reality is 1 week it might be £2 on the scales. The next week it might be £0.5 down on the scales. You might then go the next week £3 up, because that's the week before your period. Okay, then after that it might be £2 down. Weight loss is not linear. It doesn't go down in a straight line, and unfortunately the weight loss clubs, the ones that are worse for this, are Slimming World and Weight Watchers. The slimming and diet clubs, they're to blame, because you go into a room or you have your app and you weigh yourself in front of everyone, and if you haven't lost any weight, then you get told try harder. Right? It's the focus, the measure of success is how much scale weight you lose every week. And the reality is that scale weight just measures everything that is inside your skin, and outside your skin if you include your hair. Some of you might have really long hair that weighs a lot. So the reality is that that scale weight measures everything on your body, including body fat, but also including your bones, how much water, how much food is still digesting in your stomach, your organs, your blood, like the things you need, your bones, right? So actually, your muscle, do we want to be losing muscle? I would hope that if you listened to the podcast yesterday, you would say no, we don't, Chrissy. And like I said, I could get drawn very much into the science of this. I'm not going to. I'm going to stay on track and stay on my bullet points. We know the diet clubs are to blame. Instead of focusing on the number on the scales, and we're going to focus on the process. I want you to focus on the process. You know, many of my long-term clients barely weigh in. I've got a couple of them that are on this reset that do, and a couple of them that weigh themselves every day, and that's about actually removing the obsession with the scales, which if you decide to work with me, we can talk about that. But we mainly focus on the process. We focus on ticking as many boxes every day as we can, as consistently as possible. If you remain consistent with your healthy habits, you will make progress, not process. If you focus on the scales, you will have reactions to the scales. If you focus on the habits, you will make progress. Focus on your health, focus on those habits, focus on ticking the boxes, trust the process, and stop reacting to the scales. Okay? Because that's going to trip you up. If you focus on the scales, you will become obsessed with them. You know, if you focus on, well, the number's not going down, so it's not working, and then you have that reaction. Remember, right at the beginning of this, I talked about the reactions that you have to things, the reactions of the all or nothing mentality. So you might have one meal out, one night out, you think you've screwed it, so you just go off the rails for 4 days. That's a reaction to the one meal out. And you can do the same with the scales. You weigh yourself on Sunday, you don't make the connection that it's a couple of days before your period and the scales go up. And so you react, well, this isn't working and I've been trying really hard for 3 weeks, so sod it, I'm just not going to do it anymore. And so you go off, you hit the button, right? Actually, it's your reaction to the scales, because then you'll probably have 4 or 5 days of just not caring, not ticking the boxes, eating what you want. So yes, then you will undo the progress that would have shown on the scales if you waited until after your period. Or if you thought, hold on, I'm due on, so I've probably gained a couple of pounds in water weight. I've just thought I've actually got a podcast and a blog I'm going to send about this to help you all. Otherwise, I'll just go down this rabbit hole. So stop reacting and focusing on the scales. You have to have other focuses and other reasons for doing this. Otherwise, you will never be happy. Okay, there's an exercise I do with all my clients, which is you're finding your why exercise, right? And it's about really understanding why you want to make these changes, why you want to lose body fat, why you want to get healthier, why you want to get fitter. Because having a reason, everyone has a bigger reason than a number on the scales. They just haven't made that, not everyone's made that connection yet. So having that bigger reason, that bigger focus is vital. It's absolutely vital for the success of your progress. Because if you haven't connected what your why is, what your true reason is, you might get to your goal weight and you still won't be happy. You'll still find something, because you've not focused on anything else, just the number on the scale. You still won't be happy. You'll still be looking for the next thing. You'll always be looking for the next thing. So if you show up for yourself every day and tick as many boxes on as many days as possible that you can, the scales will go down. Without perfection. Do what you can each day. Sometimes that's just 40%. And just Let the scales do their thing. Don't let them push you into the all or nothing mentality. There's something that my mentor says all the time, and she's a coach as well, which is imperfect action, right? So example of that is yesterday I was stuck to my desk, which is not healthy and not what I advocate, but I don't think I moved from this desk for a good 4.5 hours because I had my head, I was in focus mode, I had my head in the game, and by the time I got out with the dog, it was just starting to go dark. And actually I voice noted a couple of you while I was just on that walk, and I wanted to walk a little bit further than I did because I wanted to get my steps in, but it was dark, it was cold, and actually once I got halfway around the village I thought, you know what, I need to get back, I've got stuff to do and dinner to cook, I've left this too late. So I only got to about 9,500 steps yesterday. Now to some of you that is probably loads of steps, okay, but for me it's not normal. For me 12,000 a day is normal because I have a Cocker Spaniel. And did I beat myself up about it? No. Imperfect action. I did 9,500 steps. That's better than 9,000 steps. It's better than 8,000 steps. I did what I could. I didn't tick the box for me, which would have been 12,000 steps. But you know what? I ticked all the other boxes. I drank my water. I slept well. I worked out. I had protein with every meal. I had about 7 portions of fruit and veg. So it's not about being perfect. Okay, we want to take imperfect action so that you're not knocking yourself off the rails, even though there are no rails, for days and days and days. You need to focus on other measures of success. You need to focus on how you're feeling. And that's why today's task is asking you, how do you feel? How do you feel after 5 days? And for some of you, because some of you started with me over a week ago on this and started putting into place some of the things you need to. You started, 10 days ago. So you need to focus on these other measures of success. The other thing I want you to remember, and I'm pretty sure I've said this already this week, is all of the healthy habits that I talk about. So the 5 we've been focusing on, plus other things like, if you read my content, you'll see it. Things like getting your sleep, managing your stress, making sure that you are taking you time every day, okay? All of those healthy habits are the things that you need for a healthy life. So they're exactly the same as the habits you need to lose body fat. And we just add in a calorie deficit for losing weight. So getting out getting your steps in, getting outside for a walk, eating your fruit and veg, eating protein, drinking water, working out, sleeping, they will all help you to live a long and healthy life, add in a calorie deficit, and you will lose body fat. So the things I teach you, not just on this reset, because we've really only just touched the surface, but if you come and decide to work with me on a longer term basis, they're things that will set you up for life. And that's what we're talking about. That's what I've been talking about since day one, is making these habits a routine. Okay, many of you have gained and lost the same pounds, the same stones, the same kilograms over and over again. And you've tried various diets, you've over restricted, you've yo-yo dieted, you've done, the fads, you've tried the slimming clubs, and you've probably done that for a lot of your adult life. I know I did. From the age of 18, 18 or 19, I tried everything until I got to my early 30s. Okay, I even ran a marathon. I ran a marathon to try and keep the weight off after I got married. It's exhausting. I've done the panic diets before the holidays and before the occasions. I mean, I thought I was going to lose loads of weight before my wedding, and I went in for my final dress fitting, and she was like, no, it's still fine. Now actually I did lose a few pounds in the lead up, like from that final dress fitting to the day, and I remember like it was all saggy around my boobs. That's because I don't have any boobs, but you know, I thought I was going to successfully manage to panic diet before my wedding, and I didn't. I've over restricted before holidays and before Christmas in the past. You know, I've done juice diets. Some of you talked about having headaches because you'd cut down on sugar and stuff. You know, I've done that. I've done the juice diets where, my goodness, the headache I had, I only did it for about a day and a half, and I had a headache for 3 days afterwards, because you can't eat anything, you can't have any caffeine, like nothing. You're literally just living on vegetable juice. It's not good for you. And this is why my method works on helping you to fit the habits that are most important to your goals into your busy life, so that they become habits and they become part of your daily life. And this means you don't then need to diet again. I talked about yesterday, I think, about, you know, maintaining your weight, maintaining your loss is the sign of a successful diet. Well, that could mean fluctuating 4 or 5 pounds either side of what you think is your goal weight. But this only comes from removing your obsession with the scales and focusing on the habits and focusing on the health and focusing on other measures of success, like how you're feeling, how your clothes fitting, what your energy is like, all of those things. And I don't underestimate that this is hard to do. You know, I've been talking for about 30 minutes now. A 30-minute podcast or a 30-minute live video is not going to fix this for you. This takes practice. This takes every day reminding yourself that it's not just about the scales. But I'm hoping this is a start for some of you. Okay, so that is why it's not all about the scales. As I said at the beginning, I'm so thrilled that so many of you are joining the at-home community. And I know a few of you have messaged me, and I've messaged a few of you that have expressed interest today. I haven't messaged you today. I messaged you yesterday. It's going to be awesome, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about what that looks like. I'm super excited. If you're watching on video, you just got a little view of Henry there having a little scratch. I'm super excited. Everyone who has joined is super excited. I've opened the community, I've opened the member site. Everyone's been having a look around and looking at all the resources that are in there so far. I wanted to tell you a little bit about it. So it's £59 for 6 weeks. That works out at less than £10 a week. If you add that up across a month, that actually works out cheaper than most gym memberships. Okay, you will get in there, you'll get some targets. So you'll get some nutrition targets. They will be calories. You don't have to count calories. So if you have a fat loss goal, you will be given calories. You don't have to count calories. I will also teach you how to lose weight without counting calories, okay? If you have a goal to build muscle, to get stronger, you will also be given a calorie target, because food matters when you are trying to build muscle, okay? So you'll get food targets, you'll get movement targets, you'll get habit targets. Okay, so if you for example, you tell me I don't drink any water, I just drink tea and coffee, then your target might be, right, I want you drinking a glass of water a day. Okay, so these aren't generic targets, these are working out where you're starting from. You'll get other habits as well. So for example, sleep. I know that sleep is a big thing for a couple of people that have already joined. So we'll look at, right, what is your sleep target? And some of that might be you need to rein it in and go to bed a little bit earlier. For some of you, if you're not sleeping well, it might be, right, find a nighttime routine that works for you. Okay, remember, there is no perfection. This isn't about being perfect. This is about trying your best. Okay, we're going to be working on how you build your habits into your routine. And again, that's really important to remember, that there's no perfect here. I'm not going to layer on 20 new habits for everyone. Someone that I spoke to yesterday that joined, she said, I just need to work on these little habits that that I'm trying to build in. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what the program's about. It's about building in your habits into your routine and making them stick before you layer on new ones. Great. And then she was like, oh great, well I'll join them. So that's what we're doing. So working on those habits that are most important to your goal and your health, right? You'll get access to weekly workouts. So there will be 2 live workouts a week. I was going to do 1 live workout and 1 on-demand workout. I'm actually going to do 2 live workouts because I may as well. I only have to then record an on-demand workout, so we may as well do it live, and then I can add in some on-demand workouts as well. You'll get a weekly check-in, so you're going to get a chance to experience this in the reset today. So I'm going to send you a link to do a little check-in form that just helps you reflect on how this week has been. And then the feedback from that check-in gets released as a podcast, anonymised. I'm not about to say, oh, Lindsay, you're having this issue, are you okay? Well, this is what you need to do. It's anonymised. You get a community very similar to what we've been doing in the reset, and you get a whole member site full of resources. So as I said, that is £59 for 6 weeks of working with me. What happens after the 6 weeks? I'm going to be honest with you. I've said this from the beginning. There is no quick fix. It is going to completely depend on what your goal is. But I would say that most people will stay on longer than 6 weeks. So it will then just be that you stay in the community until you're happy that these habits have formed. Habit change takes time, it takes support, it takes consistency. And so the community is not just going to close after 6 weeks, it will stay open, and you can join on a monthly basis after then. So if you are interested in joining the Mum Boss at Home community, I would love to have you join. Just reach out, drop me a message on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever you found me, on WhatsApp. Most of you have got my WhatsApp number now. I'd love to chat to you about it. The doors close for this on Sunday, the 7th of January at 8 p.m. If you are listening to this as a podcast and you're listening to it later, the community will open again. So all you need to do is reach out to me, check out my website, mumbossmethod.com, and you will see when the community opens again. And so you will be able to join. I'd love to have you join. Now, resetters, your tasks for today, 2 tasks. First one is share in the WhatsApp group or the Facebook group what your wins are for the week, particularly focusing on how you are feeling. That's number 1. Your second task for today is to complete your check-in form. It will take you a few minutes, and then what I will do is be collating all of those, and I will release the feedback for that as a podcast. If I see anything specific in your feedback, I might just drop you a little note just to say try this, just to help, this might help. But I will be releasing this as the feedback as a podcast, anonymized, just like I would be doing in the community, because that's what this has been. This has been giving you an insight into what being in the Mum Boss at Home community has been like. So there are your 2 tasks for the day. I have loved this week. I hope you have too. If you're a little bit behind, do not worry. You can still reach out to me for support and for help. Just because the reset is over doesn't mean I won't help you. It just will mean that the Facebook group and the WhatsApp group have closed. Have an awesome Saturday. I'm off to the gym once this is downloaded and I've uploaded it as a podcast. And yeah, this has been awesome. Mwah. Bye bye.